Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden of K-Land.
Where plants run free with jokes and clumsiness, let's make it green and wild in the Garden of K-Land.
Everybody loves an easy houseplant. Sometimes I find a plant that is love at first sight, and then I bring it home and it does not feel the same way about me. But occasionally I come across a unicorn that actually loves me back. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the easiest houseplants in my collection right now. And that's saying a lot because right now it's freezing where I live. I'm struggling with humidity and I'm just overall busier at this time of year. So keeping up with houseplant care is a little bit harder. But before we get started, hi, I'm Kayla and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome aboard and don't forget to subscribe if plants are your vibe. Now let's look at some plants, starting with the philodendron Jose Bruno. Now Jose here has been my pride and joy for quite a while now. Back when I was going through a variegated everything phase, I got this Jose Bruno as like a small little seedling, and it has just been the golden child ever since. Now these large, well, kind of large, they get much bigger, but these large leaves produce this variegation with so much ease at all times of the year, at least in my care. And although you just see the lime green and dark green contrast on the leaves, these lighter portions actually emerge this cream color. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is so pretty. It is so amazing to me to have such stable variegation at all times of the year and just consistent growth on a plant that is so easy like this one. And I actually have it in this decorative pot, but I actually don't have it in this decorative pot. So the pot is heavy, y'all. I'm gonna have to put it down. Whew, that's better. So yeah, back to the Jose Bruno. Look at these leaves. None of them are identical by any means, but they carry the color so well. And I don't have to do a lot in terms of manipulating the growth. I mean, I do have it on this support stake, of course, because they'll size up as they climb up, but there's just not a whole lot of like training that I have to do. It doesn't go wild. It just goes straight up. I mean, it's so well behaved. The leaves are pointing in one direction because of where I have the grow light. So I have it like right in front. So they're all facing one direction. But when I tell you guys, I don't have any problems out of this guy. I mean, none at all. As far as the care for it, I just have it in some simple air void mix and I let it dry out before watering it again. Sometimes I let it dry out completely and everything is easy peasy, good to go. For it to be winter time right now, this plant is especially thriving, even though I am a little bit nervous at the fact that I need to repot it. I feel like this is going to be one of the plants that kind of adjusts to a new pot with ease, and I'm not too worried about shocking it or anything. Look, I even have a new leaf coming in right there. Oh, this is one of the ones that even though I've been busy and despite my neglect, it has still been thriving without my help at all. So if you're looking for something easy, but you don't want the standard, like, you know, typical easy plants, the Jose Bruno is definitely the way to go. Now, of course, there was going to be a Hoya on this list. Hoya in general are mostly easy, in my opinion. I've had a few outliers, but the trend line still remains mostly positive. The Hoya elliptica especially, first of all, I saw a round form version of this. Is that a real thing? Because I think I love it. Anyway, these green or like cream colored veins, I think add so much depth to the foliage. And this Hoya has the most adorable little white flowers on it. What's really strange to me about this Hoya though, is that a lot of people say that it's really finicky or difficult. And I just couldn't disagree more. I have this in a really dry area of my home. It gets some bright indirect light, but I kind of forget to water it sometimes. Maybe it is finicky and that's why it's growing so slowly, but I just haven't really had many problems from it. So it's kind of hard to see where the finicky part is coming in. There's no extra humidity or anything. Literally, I just leave it alone. That's it. I water it when it needs to be watered and I leave it alone. And sometimes that's what you got to do with plants. Just leave them alone. For me, that is hard. That's very difficult because it's hard for me to leave a plant alone, especially when I love it so much. To be fair though, I got this plant when the rooting system was very established. So it could be that I'm perhaps enjoying the fruits of someone else's labor, and that's why I haven't had many problems from it. But either way, I love it. It has just been growing nonstop, and it's yet another plant that seems to be unfazed by the winter blues. And I feel like I can maybe learn a thing or two from this guy. I was going through my list. I was like, why don't I ever show this plant? And then I realized it's because I hate having to lift it. This is my big old gentle giant. Now, I won't lie, the Monstera escaleto is a little bit harder to find, but well worth it if you do manage to find one. I seriously cannot believe how much this plant has grown. And I think I just found the sweet spot between like light, watering, temperature. It's just been so easy for me. So I'm doing something right. I just don't know what it is I'm doing right. I propagated the top of this plant at least 4 times, and I gave one to my sister. I gave one to my neighbor. I have one upstairs that's its own like full plant now, and it just keeps growing back as if nothing ever happened. This is easily the least difficult Monstera that I have in my collection, and it's the biggest one. I've literally never had a single problem from him. These show-stopping crazy leaves. Oh my gosh, that one's perfect. And that's a new one. I wonder if it's going to get bigger. But anyway, these show-stopping leaves get massive, as you can see. And of course, it reminds a lot of people of the Monstera adansonii, which it does look just like it in its juvenile form, but you can definitely tell the difference as it matures. I have had to pull a few emergent leaves from within other leaves, which is such a crazy thing to hear myself saying. The moss pole is a major help on this plant too. As a lot of you know, having some kind of support on a plant or something for it to climb up encourages growth and encourages the leaves to size up. So this was obviously going to need a moss pole. I have it in some really simple aeroid mix, but I kind of cheated a little bit because I added a little bit of peat moss to my mix so that I don't have to water it as often. And then I have some slow release fertilizer in here. So this guy just kind of chills, like he just sits back and relaxes and watches all the chaos go on around him, minds his business, which I think is the key to health. The leaves do get dusty on him occasionally, so I do still have to like take him to the shower and wash him off, which I don't really mind because it just gives me a chance to like admire him up close, check for stuff. I never find anything, so I just like very loosely check for pests. I'm even considering keeping the other one that I took from him or that I propagated from him and just having 2 of them. I don't know. I'm so impressed. I think it's such an impressive plant that I don't know. I kind of just want 2 of them. I just don't have anywhere else for the other one to go, which is, you know, kind of where the hesitation lies. But get a look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to do a small plant after that one because my shoulder is like, y'all, I've been doing these really intense workouts. Like I cannot walk the next day. When is it going to get better? Anyway, so this is my Sykonium Chiapense Frosted Heart. And oh my gosh, how gorgeous. I think Sykoniums are so easy that they often get overlooked, even in my own collection. Like very rarely do I have to worry about these or fuss over them. And I think that that makes me not neglect them, but just not pay as much attention to them. And who knew such a beautiful plant would be so pleasing to look at? I did. That's why I got it. The Chiapense Frosted Heart has so much personality to it. And these gorgeous, gorgeous frosted looking leaves, hence the name Frosted Heart. It's a climber, and as it climbs, the leaves size up, which further illuminates this gorgeous color. This one is still pretty juvenile, but you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be breathtaking once it sizes up. It's already breathtaking now. Some other Sykoniums to mention that stand out among the others to me are the Sykonium Winlandey. The Winlandey has these dark velvety leaves, this prominent light green or white veining, and these sharp pointed leaves that are just incredible. Another favorite of mine, not just because it's gorgeous, but because I got it from my grandma, is this Sykonium Red Spot Tricolor. There's just so much vibrant color on these leaves. Like I can't get enough of it. Look at dark green, the light green, and this is like a half moon leaf. It is perfect. This is my favorite leaf on here. Runner up is definitely this one. But yeah, this is such a gorgeous plant. It's a little bit harder to find than a few other ones. It's kind of similar. It looks similar to the, what is it, Pink Splash, but the difference is this one has 3 colors and the Pink Splash, I believe, just has like green and pink in it. The shape of the leaves also takes me out because what? How is this gorgeous, y'all? And I have it. Once again, I think I'm enjoying the fruits of somebody else's labor. But it's so comforting to me to know that like my grandma handpicked this out before she died and like took care of it, and just, it's very comforting to know that she touched the same plant that I'm touching. It's weird. I know I sound kind of weird, but if you get it, you get it. And it's just a bit of a cherry on top that it's also an incredibly beautiful plant. Unfortunately, right now it's been very slow growing, but I've only had it for about 2 months here. So I don't know. We'll see what it does. I have it in my cabinet because I can't let anything bad happen to this. Even though they're super easy, I don't know. I'm just taking like an extra step and making sure that I pay close attention to it. But yeah, I've never actually, come to think of it, I have never ever had a single pest on a Sykonium. Has anybody noticed that? Like, do you get pests on your Sykoniums ever? Let me know in the comments. I don't think I have a single difficult one. I know that some exist, but the ones that I'm showing you today have been completely problem-free. It's always gonna feel so weird referring to any Antherium as easy, but this one is the real deal. Maybe because it's a hybrid. The Antherium radicans by Luxurians is not only out of this world beautiful, but it's virtually carefree. I have this one in my son's room, so that should tell you how carefree it is, because I would not trust him around any difficult plants at all. He's not gonna water them. He's probably gonna knock them over. Anyway, a lot of Antherium get a little bit weird about not having higher than usual humidity, but not this one. It's been chilling in ambient humidity and just some simple air void mix in this, I guess, terracotta or clay pot. And it's just living its best life right now. Well, kind of, because I do have some issues right there, but I think that's from when I repotted it. I don't know. I don't know what I did here. Like maybe it was adjusting, but it's been growing nonstop. See that new leaf coming in? In return for basically nothing, I get these incredible textured, almost black leaves on here, you guys, with these deep lobes. It's so crazy to me. It's, oh my gosh, like, look how beautiful that is. My favorite part about this though is definitely how dark the leaves look. And then they emerge this beautiful like copper color. It's just crazy, y'all. I love this plant so much. Out of all my Antheriums, this one is by far the easiest. And it's so easy that it's actually easier than a few of my philodendrons, which means a lot or says a lot because I feel like I've mastered philodendron at this point, kinda. But if you're wanting to kind of dip a toe into the world of Antheriums, then you should definitely start with this one. It likes to be watered. When it dries out I let it dry out about halfway through and I water it again. And then I just give it bright filtered light most of the day. If that's a problem for you though, I do have a solution. SANSI recently sent me this light, so I wanted us to unbox it together, and I'm gonna put it on a plant and we'll come back and check in like a month or so and see what it's really hitting on. So they wanted me to review it and let them know what I thought, and I'm gonna tell them the truth, y'all. In the box is a cord or the adapter, whatever it's called, and some papers. I never look at those. Nobody does. So here we have, oh, so this is like the clip-on light. So you clip it onto your plant. See, and it has like this adjustable head. So you clip it onto your plant, and then I'm assuming you plug it in and turn it on and see what happens. So I don't know. I don't know what plant I'm going to put it on yet, but I have an idea. And I clipped it right on the back of this Antherium since it was in my son's room a little bit further away from the window and was getting less light than what I was used to giving it. And it has a timer, so I set the timer for 3 hours a day. So for 3 hours while the kids are at school, this is just getting constant light. After having it on here for an entire month, I can definitely see that I'm headed in the right direction. And I have it placed on here to where the Hoya underneath it and the Choco Empress beside it are both getting a little bit of that residual light from it. So I'm basically getting light on all 3 of my plants with one clip light. And I'm thinking about getting a few more so I can put plants in areas of my home where I previously could not. So you know what that means? More plants, y'all. It's a perfect little light that packs a lot of punch. So if you're considering getting one, go ahead and use my discount code KLAND32 to save 32% off your entire purchase and let me know how it goes. One of my most neglected plants is my Philodendron African Fantasy, which I believe now, if I'm not mistaken, has been reclassified as a Thalmatophyllum. This plant is a hybrid of the Goldii and the Sedum. And you guys, every time I see it, I'm just like, I can't believe I have this. It is such a beast. I mean, she is huge. Now, I recently had 4 leaves on here. As you can see, there are now 2. I was watering it and I snapped 1 leaf off completely at the base. And it was so devastating because it was a brand new leaf. Like you can still see the sheath right here. It was a brand new leaf and it was like it barely had a chance to be in this world. I felt so bad about it. And then the other one died because I over fertilized. I forgot I fertilized it already. And then I did it again. Was like, well, nothing I can do now. So now you have an understanding of why I'm neglecting her now, because she clearly does not like all the fussing that I've been doing over her. Like she wants to be left alone. And I get that. I feel that. I consider this one to be a really easy one because, like I said earlier, she doesn't like to be fussed over and she grows very slowly, which is why I'm so devastated that I snapped that leaf off because it was like the first leaf I got in like 6 months, maybe like 4 months. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it takes a while for these massive leaves to emerge. So yeah, that was very disappointing. I've recently put the African Fantasy in some lower lighting because where I had her, it was just way too much light on her, I feel like. So yeah, I moved her to a darker spot and she really started doing a whole lot better once I moved her there. So dare I venture to say that this may also be an easy low light tolerant plant? I think so. The leaves are so incredible. They kind of start to circle here at the top, which is so amazing. I wish I had more of them to show you guys so that I can show you how different they are from each other. Like no new leaf that emerges looks like the last one, which I think is such a unique characteristic of this plant. Look how massive this leaf is. Like that's huge. Although this is not the most expensive plant in my collection, this is absolutely one of the most rare plants that I have. And it has nothing to do with the price or anything like that. It's just that you don't see these very often. And even upon searching them on the internet, you won't be able to find like a bunch of information about them. You'll see a few little ones here and there, but they've kind of still been a little bit elusive since I got this one and had it for over a year. So like a year and 2 months. And I haven't seen it since then. So maybe one day these will start popping up. But as of right now, they're a little bit hard to find. Once you do have one though, it is incredibly easy to care for. Now I am almost positive a lot of you guys are gonna back me up on this one. The Philodendron gigas is hands down one of the easiest plants out there that has these dark velvety leaves, y'all. Oh my gosh. Let me get up close so you can really see what the hype is about. Well, I don't know if these are hyped, but I'm hyping them. And rightfully so. Like, look at the foliage on here. If I stand back, these leaves are black, basically. It's like a larger, thicker form of the Philodendron lichens, and it loves, loves, loves to climb. I originally kept this in my cabinet where it was getting really consistent humidity and really consistent lighting. And eventually I outgrew it and I had to take it out, and I was so nervous about it. But y'all, when I tell you there was literally no change when I took it out of there, there was no change. Like, it just kept on growing and kept on going. And something else I love about this plant is, despite these dark velvety leaves, it did not have any problems with humidity once I took it out and just put it into ambient humidity. It didn't suffer at all, at least not that I can tell. I loved this plant to begin with, but I love it a whole lot more now. Not to mention the fact that I have propagated the top of it so many times and didn't even root them. I just stuck them down in the bottom of the pot and they just grew with no problem at all. Like, all of them just took off. So you can see where the bottom is a lot fuller than the top because they haven't caught up yet, but they're on their way, believe me. This is actually one of my favorite plants that is currently in my collection. I need to extend that pole, as you can see. But yeah, they have no problem sizing up. And I know that this plant may look a little bit intimidating, but when I'm telling you it is very easy, it has just had no problems, none. It's like the melanochrysum, but without the drama. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at these leaves. Now, I think, to be fair, I need to mention that, and I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I have this in fluvostratum. So this naked root planter is filled with stratum, and then I keep this reservoir like halfway filled with water, and it just grows. Like I said, I don't know if that makes a difference. I've never ever tried growing it in soil. I put it in stratum originally because I was intimidated by it too. So I wanted to give it like a really high chance of thriving. And yeah, it definitely did that. I don't know if that, you know what I'm saying, is the difference. But I do know that the gigas is tolerant of a lot of growing conditions. So I feel like anybody could kind of have one. I try not to show the Sansevieria or snake plant too often in my like easy plants videos, because I feel like the snake plants are so overrepresented as far as easy care plants are concerned. But that's for a reason. And the reason is because they are really easy. They are easy to care for. And I don't know, it's just something about this one. And I don't have a lot of snake plants in my collection, but this one right here is my favorite. The well-finned Sansevieria, which, by the way, recently, well, a little bit over recently, had a baby, but they're typically sold just like this. It's just one leaf, and they're very thick, very thick. I have not watered this plant in about 6 months. I lie to you not. I have it in a darker area of my house on a high shelf, and I just kind of toss some water in it every now and again. I just watered it, which is why it's wet right now. But yeah, these do not require a lot of water. In fact, mine prefer not to be watered very often. When I do water them, they tend to go yellow and I have issues. So I'm like, well, forget you then. I won't give you anything else. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, look at that. That is the oddest little thing. Well, it's not little, but that is one of the oddest plants that I have. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to it and why I love it so much. I recently saw one of these in Target, of all places, y'all. And I was so in love with it in Target. I don't know how to appreciate the one that I have at home already. And the one in Target only had one leaf and mine has two. So I actually prefer this one leaf look. I think it is very unique. I don't know, odd. So I think I'm going to end up taking this one out and giving it to somebody, just to have the one leaf in there. But is this plant not incredible, you guys? And to have something like this and not have to worry about it. Oh my gosh. Look, can you hear those leaves? Like, these leaves are so thick. I can't even like really bend them. It's just such an amazing plant. I'm not gonna lie. I love this snake plant. And like I said, I don't have a lot of snake plants. I maybe have like 4, which out of 300 plus plants is nothing basically. But this one, if I had to get rid of all of them, I would have to keep this one. You guys, how charming is this little watermelon Dischidia? It is just so cute in this little pot. Recently, I was complaining about downsizing and not knowing if I wanted to have a trailing Dischidia or have it on a trellis. And someone, actually one of you guys, suggested that I put the trellis in there and have a little bit of both. And that was such a great idea. I think this is the second time I mentioned it, actually. I don't know, but that was a great idea. And now I'm kind of doing it. So it doesn't have much on the trellis yet, but it is an easy plant that you're not going to see oversaturated or too often. It's a little bit hard to find. You might have to get it off Etsy or something, but they're not going to, you know, break the bank when you see these. So I got mine. I think it was like 15 bucks. Maybe it was 20. I don't know. Oh my gosh, you guys, you could have this in a little hanging planter too. And they're so easy to propagate. So it kind of behaves like a Hoya. In fact, the Dischidia and Hoya are cousins. I don't know if they first, second, or third cousins or whatever, but they're definitely related, and you can certainly tell. And it is a flowering plant. Mine has not flowered, but that's okay because focus on the leaves. Like, do you really care about the flowers when the leaves look like this? Yes, I do care about the flowers, but that's neither here nor there. You guys, this plant, I water it maybe once a month when I remember to. It's on a little shelf in front of a south-facing window. So I do need to water it more than once a month for sure. Like, because you can see where some of these, you know, stems are like not happy. So I do need to keep up with the watering a little bit more than I've been doing. And that's something that I'm working on. In fact, I actually just watered it, so you'd be very proud of me. But the growth is very steady, very consistent. I wouldn't consider it rapid growing, but definitely a moderate grower. I would like to fill the inside up a little bit more, but we'll work on that later. Right now, I'm just trying to get it to go around this trellis. You guys, this is such a beautiful plant. The veining on the leaves that resemble the watermelon, like that's so true. It definitely does look like a watermelon, but the veining on the leaves is what takes me out with this guy, because you have a lot of Dischidia and a lot of them just have regular plain old green leaves, which is beautiful in its own right, but I love the veining on this one. It's such a jewel in the summertime when we're like eating breakfast at the table, because this is kind of near my table, to see it kind of like trailing down off the shelf. It's just such a cute little design piece that I have in there. And I think you should get one too. So the Synapsis Satin Jade Aria is definitely another easy plant that is eye-catching and not super common. I got this not even a year ago, y'all, as like a little, I'm gonna look up exactly when I got it actually. It was just a little 3-leaf plant when I got it. And I actually posted it on my Instagram. Let me see if I can find it. And it literally had 3 leaves. Like, I'm not even kidding. Yep, 3 leaves. Let me see. This was June 20th, 2024. I got this as a 3-leafer, and I'll put a picture on screen, but yeah, in less than a year, this is how much it's grown. And oh my gosh, y'all, look at these leaves. Now I have to stay on top of watering with this one because it's in kind of a small pot and it tends to dry out faster. But this is one of the easiest Synapsis. In fact, it is the easiest one, and it's the one that I have not ever had any problems out of. So, oh my goodness gracious, y'all. Like, how is this even easy? These leaves are thick and a little bit waxy, and having it on this trellis seems to really encourage it to grow and size up a little bit. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to wrap it around the trellis again. So I am gonna have to look into something new, some new kind of support, whether it's a new moss pole when I repot it or just a bigger trellis. Because I have got to keep this momentum going. When I got this plant, I was warned about the high probability of browning, but I have yet to see any browning in any of these leaves. They say it's due to high variegation, and I have the high variegation and no browning. So what the heck? This is the easiest plant ever. And it's funny because it's actually easier than my regular satin jade. No shade to the jade, but this just doesn't give me problems. Whereas the other one is like constantly yellowing and has leaves falling off. So I don't know what the difference is because I'm treating them both the same. I don't know. I really don't know. When it comes to the ease and beauty of a Synapsis, I definitely say the runner-up is the Exotica, which is also striking as far as the foliage is concerned. But this one, in my opinion, is like a lot more beautiful. Now, I do keep this one, y'all, in front of this vertical grow light that you can see a little bit of behind me right here. So I keep it in front of that. It's kind of front and center, actually. So I don't know if that's why I'm getting all of this rapid growth. I do know it is why. So if it's something that you're into and I've convinced you today to get this, I got mine on Etsy. I don't remember which seller I got it from on Etsy, but yeah, that's where it came from, and it shipped well. I didn't have any problems. It was June, so it was a little bit hotter outside, but y'all, just get it. You only live once, right? You can't take your money with you. So what if you gotta eat? You can eat tomorrow. Get the plant. That's my motto. I'm sticking to it. I'm just playing. Don't do that, y'all, because I can't pay your bills. So you guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know which one was your favorite and if you have it. If you do have any of them, let me know if you think my list was spot on or maybe could use a little bit of adjusting. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe if plants are your vibe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.